The eternal guest. Nestled in the quiet countryside of England, the Willow Brook Inn had always been a place of warmth and charm. Owned by Claire and Daniel, a young couple who had poured their life savings into renovating the historic building, the inn had become known for its cozy atmosphere, hearty breakfasts, and friendly hosts. But beyond its quaint exterior, the inn held secrets that would soon unravel in ways the couple could never imagine. It started with a booking. Claire was sorting through reservations when she noticed one that didn't have an end date. A man named Mr. Elijah Hart had reserved room 6 indefinitely. There was no phone number, no special requests, just a simple note. "Do not disturb." "Must be a mistake," Claire muttered, showing the odd reservation to Daniel. "Maybe he's a writer or something," Daniel suggested with a shrug. "Some people like to stay long-term in places like this. Let's wait and see." The next day, Mr. Hart arrived. He was a tall man, dressed in a black coat that seemed almost antique. His face was pale, and his piercing blue eyes seemed to look right through Claire as she checked him in. "You've got a lovely place," Mr. Hart said in a deep, smooth voice. "I think I'll be quite comfortable here." He paid in cash, handed Claire his ID, and retreated to room 6 with a single suitcase. The quiet guest days turned into weeks, and Mr. Hart rarely left his room. Occasionally, Claire or Daniel would see him late at night, sitting in the dimly lit lounge, sipping tea and staring into the fireplace. He never joined the other guests for meals and didn't respond to housekeeping knocks. "Should we check on him?" Claire asked Daniel one evening. "What if he's sick or worse?" "He pays on time and hasn't caused any trouble," Daniel replied. "Maybe he's just private." But something about Mr. Hart's presence unsettled Claire. The air around him felt colder, and the way he moved, almost gliding, sent shivers down her spine. One evening, while cleaning the lounge, Claire found a book Mr. Hart had left behind. It was an old, leather-bound journal with no title. Curious, she flipped it open, but the pages were filled with strange symbols and drawings, circles, runes, and what looked like ancient rituals. "What do you think this is?" she asked Daniel later. He frowned. "Probably just some eccentric hobby. Let's put it back before he notices." A strange discovery. Weeks later, the inn experienced its first vacancy in months. The guests all left unexpectedly, citing vague reasons. Feeling uneasy, strange noises at night, or an overwhelming sense of dread. That night, during a fierce storm, the power went out. Armed with flashlights, Claire and Daniel decided to check the breaker in the basement. As they descended the creaky wooden stairs, they noticed a strange draft and an odd smell, like something decaying. "Did something die down here?" Daniel muttered, shining his flashlight around. At the far end of the basement, behind old crates, they discovered a door they had never seen before. It was made of dark wood, with an iron handle that looked ancient. "That's not in the floor plan," Claire said, her voice trembling. "Must have been sealed off during the renovations," Daniel replied, though his tone betrayed his uncertainty. Against Claire's protests, Daniel forced the door open. Behind it was a small room, and in the center sat a dusty armchair facing an empty fireplace. The air was thick, oppressive, and filled with the faint sound of whispering, though they couldn't tell where it was coming from. On the chair rested a single object, another leather-bound journal, identical to the one Mr. Hart had left in the lounge. The journal back upstairs, they examined the journal. Unlike the first, this one had writing in English. It appeared to be a diary, chronicling the experiences of various innkeepers who had once owned the Willow Brook Inn. The entries were chilling. March 12, 1876. The man in room 6 has not aged a day since his arrival 10 years ago. He pays his rent in gold coins, but something about him is wrong. The other guests are leaving, claiming they see shadows moving in their rooms at night. July 3, 1912. I heard whispering outside my door last night. When I opened it, there was no one there, but I swear I felt someone breathing down my neck. October 31, 1954. Room 6 is empty, but every night I hear footsteps pacing back and forth. The man, if he even is a man, is still here. He always will be. Claire dropped the journal, her hands shaking. "What is this? Some kind of sick joke?" Daniel's face was pale. "It can't be real. It's probably just some old prank." But Claire wasn't convinced. the night of terror. That night, Claire couldn't sleep. Every creak of the floorboards, every gust of wind against the windows felt sinister. She lay awake, staring at the ceiling, when she heard it. A faint knock on their bedroom door. "Daniel," she whispered,